Hey everyone, just want to jump in here for a minute before the podcast starts and let y'all know that there will be minor spoilers discussing a few random early Limgrave bosses, a few Everjail bosses, one from Lernia, but everything else is from Limgrave, and the first couple major story bosses, one of them being the first demigod of the game. Most people have experienced or seen 95% or more of what we talk about within the first 20 hours or less of their playthrough. 30 hours for me, but I'm also slower than most people are. But just be warned if that's something you're going to be worried about. That's all that I have for you. Let's just head on right into the shenanigans of this episode, shall we?
Hey everyone, welcome to the seasonal podcast. I'm Lane.
And I'm Holden, and this week we're just doing a little short discussion thing on the new From Software game, which is Elden Ring, of course.
Yeah.
Nobody needs any introduction to this, but in case you do...
It's a Souls-like game.
It's the simplest way to describe it, really, is that
I've
it's
never
basically
played any of the Dark Souls games, so that's how everybody told me it was. And I was like, okay.
Elden Ring is basically open world Dark Souls.
Yeah.
The way a lot of people try to describe it in one sentence or phrase is that it's Dark Souls 4, but open world.
Dark Souls with a horse.
And with a horse, yes. And with specific summons, which are nice. But this game, and God, when does this episode come out? I don't even know.
It's going to be out for a couple months by the time this episode comes out.
I think this is the 1st May. I think this is the May episode.
How long has this been out? The game been out so far?
It came out the last Friday of February, I think, so somewhere around the 24th or 25th, I believe. So the game's been out for 2.5-ish months. Wait.
Months?
Is that how... I'm talking about the time this comes out.
Oh.
I'm trying to do math. Yeah, about 2.5-ish months at the time of this video's release, the game has been out. So it's been a little while, but at the time of recording, it's been 3 weekends.
3 weekends. That sounds more like...
Yeah, this is the 3rd weekend that I've been playing it because, god damn it, I'm so fucking addicted to this game, dude.
Yeah.
Like, just... So, I do all of the work that has to do with this YouTube channel and the website and everything like that. So I spend hours writing, and I spend hours planning and recording and editing all of the videos that come out on this YouTube channel. And a lot of the time that I spend doing that happens on the weekends because that's when I have time to. I can usually edit like a video in the morning before I have to go to work on weekdays or something like that and have it export and whatnot while I'm gone.
Right.
But the weekends is when I'm usually able to get, like several hours of editing done, do a couple videos and whatnot. I've been playing Elden Ring non-stop. Like, I don't play it during the week on Monday through Friday because I just don't have fucking time with school. School's been kicking my ass.
Right.
But on the weekends, I've been playing like 8 to 12 hours a day every Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, this is going to come from a little bit of a fresh perspective, I think, relatively speaking, because Lane...
I bought the game. Did I buy it? I bought it right the day after, or the day after you showed me gameplay.
Yeah.
Because I was hesitant. I was like, I'll probably buy it in a month or two. I'm kind of satisfied with the games I got right now. And then I went over to your place and you showed me some gameplay, and I was like,
yeah,
all right, I'll probably play it, which was last weekend, I think.
It was the weekend before last.
So I bought it like shortly after it came out.
Yeah, a few days, because I had
came
pre-ordered it like 2 months, or probably even more than that.
You had it pre-ordered in like November, December-ish, because I remember going on the PlayStation Store and it said you had pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, time goes by so quick these days, dude. So I was like 2 months or so before it came out, I had it pre-ordered. No, I think it was more like 3, maybe 4 months before it came out. I had it pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I own all of the From Software stuff. Like, I bought a disc collection version of Dark Souls 1 remastered, 2 Scholar of the First Sin, and 3, all of them with all DLC included. And then just on the PlayStation Store, I bought Bloodborne and its DLC. So I own all of the From Software games. Oh, and I bought Sekiro probably 4 months ago or something like that too, right around the same time.
They developed that game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They did, yeah. So I own all of the From Software games since then. I also own Demon Souls Remake
No.
on the PS5. So I own all these games. I'm aware of what they are. I've watched tons of people play several of the games all the way through and stuff. So I'm not unfamiliar with Souls the way that Lane probably is, generally speaking.
I own Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3. Haven't played them.
Yeah. I mean, I think you said that you started Dark Souls 3, but only like a few minutes or something like that.
I've played like maybe 2 hours of Bloodborne, and then I played a total of 5 minutes of Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
And just the inventory and all that in Dark Souls 3 was a bit too
fair,
much.
yeah. The menuing and stuff like that is a little bit getting used to, but I mean that's how almost all RPGs are.
I think I just I started it, wanted to see what it was about, and then I was just like, I got other things I want to do right now.
Yeah. I mean, so he's a fresh player, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
I own all the From Software games, but I haven't played a whole lot. I mean, I've spent tons of hours of my life watching people play the different games and like doing lore and stuff like that. Bloodborne, I've played, I want to say like maybe 3 hours of it or so back in, I don't know, late 2020 or something like that.
Yeah.
I maybe did like an hour in late 2019 or something like that. But for some reason, I suck at From Software combat, mostly because I just haven't had the time to invest into getting good.
Right.
As the handy nifty phrase goes.
Get good, kid.
Get good or get wrecked.
Yeah.
So I'm not super great at the combat and stuff like that. And especially back then during my senior year of high school and all of that, just time and mental space and stuff like that, I didn't have the time or the desire to spend hours a day just playing and getting used to and getting good at the combat and going through those challenges and whatnot. So I never even beat the first boss of Bloodborne.
Right.
But it was late 2020 actually. And a little bit of 2021 here and there. I played maybe 20 or 25 hours of Dark Souls 1, which I enjoyed doing, but then I ran out of time and had to stop playing it for various different reasons, and a couple months went by before I went back. For some reason, I have a really hard time going back to these games in the middle of a playthrough because I'm not somebody who like retains my muscle memory and stuff with gameplay super well. It takes me 2 or 3 hours to get back into a game if it's been more than 2 weeks since I've played or something like that.
Right.
So I have a hard time getting back into From Software games after, it's been a long time since I've played them. So when I went back to Dark Souls 1 back in, couple months ago or something like that and played for another like 2 or 3 hours or whatever, I started another save file and that was that. But that's basically all the experience I have. I've wanted, I always wanted to just play through all these games and just go for and get the platinums, just play through them, do the new game pluses and whatever to get the extra items that will.
It's gonna take you a minute.
Yeah, it takes. I mean, I'm a trophy hunter, and I mean, if I were to dedicate the time and energy to getting good at these games that way, I'm sure I would very much enjoy myself the same way I've been enjoying Elden Ring. So, kind of getting into the actual discussion of this video. I've already spent. So there are some people who've already spent a couple hundred of hours in this game. But those are the people who, either do gaming related stuff for their jobs.
Yeah.
Like game reviewers or streamers or stuff like that. Or people who just straight up no life the shit out of the game.
Yeah.
Like I know somebody who did a couple weeks of his schoolwork early. Like did it all early and then took a week off from work.
Just to play this game.
And then played the game for 150 hours over that week. And I'm like, I wish I could do that, but I have a job. My job's not full-time. It's only 32 hours a week, but I also do school. And I do, again, all of my video work and writing and stuff, so I just don't have time, especially during the week. But on my weekends, like I said, I've been playing this game so much. So at this point, because I played again today, even though I didn't think I was going to. An addiction. I think I have 37 hours
I
so far.
have over 20. I know.
I want to say it was somewhere around 25 the last time you showed me a
25
picture of it. And I don't think you've played that much since then.
I've been meaning to pick it up, but I've also been hella busy. 20 hours.
Oh, and you haven't played since then?
I may have played maybe an hour or two since then.
Okay.
And I don't think it's quite 25, but it's between 20 and 25 hours. And it was addicting when I first got it. Basically, like the first week that I had it, I played a couple hours every day.
He mentioned this a little bit earlier, but
I surpassed you for a little bit.
You spent more time in and was more highly leveled than I was for a little bit. And I was like, Jesus Christ, slow down, bud. You're making me jealous. And I was jealous. Like, I was like
the second or third day in, because I was fresh to these souls. I thought I was going to be stuck on, certain things just forever. I beat the Tree Sentinel. I beat the Dragon. I beat...
Granted, he watched me beat the Tree Sentinel and the Dragon.
True.
Before he got the game.
I beat I've beaten a total of like 5 or 6 different bosses in the span of like the first 4 days I played. And I was having the most fun with it. And for some reason I put the game down. Work is fucking massively busy, especially since I'm fixing on taking a week off. I'm trying to get as much hours as I can. And I just haven't had any desire to really pick up a game that I can sit and play for a few hours.
That's fair.
When I'm as busy as I am, my mood is to hop on like Apex or something with a couple of friends, play for maybe an hour and a half until we get sick and tired of it, and then I go to bed. Because in an Elden Ring, if I play that, I'm going to be up. It's going to take up way too much of my time.
Exactly, yeah. So, it's very binge game.
Time that I do not have at the moment.
Yeah, the only time that I have is on weekends, and that's because I'm forcing myself to make the time because I'm not making the time to do what I'm supposed to be doing. Haha, addiction. Anyway. But yeah, like no, he mentioned this a little bit earlier. We actually he came over to my house last weekend. Or was it last weekend? I think it was 2 weekends ago. Yeah, because I think it was the first weekend that I had the game. I'm certain that it was. Because it was the Sunday, so it seemed like it was a whole other week.
Yeah.
So at the time of recording this, it was about a week and a half ago, but at the time of release, time doesn't even matter for you.
Yeah.
Like this discussion doesn't even matter, but not just a few days after the game came out and after I had spent 12 or something hours in the game already, probably more than that, I don't even know, it was a hell of a long time. I had lain over at my house, which doesn't happen often. We're usually at his place because he lives alone with his cats and whatnot. I'm still with my parents and I only have my 1 bedroom, so it's, I had him at my house for once because my parents were gone and my brother wasn't even there for most of it, so it was just quiet.
Right.
That was the main thing. And I played through a different game, which we actually discussed on our top 10 games of all time that I mentioned there in that first part of that. I showed him a game and I recorded it because I wanted to just have footage of it just to have. And I don't know if I'm ever going to release that. I might just throw it together and have it be a random podcast substitute if we're unable to record anything for something. Just to have, something and for it to just be, like a 2.5 hour video of us just not really caring about what's going on, just talking.
Right.
Almost fell asleep a couple times, but not out of boredom, just out of sheer exhaustion because that weekend was crazy.
Yeah, I was doing my usual 12, 13-hour days for a couple days in a row, and then, Yeah, so if I sit down to play a video game after doing a couple days of that, I'm just like, I'd rather go to bed.
That was exactly why you were able to binge so much. So we recorded this thing that I may or may not release at some point in time in the future, and then I was like, but hold up, before you go, even though it's already midnight and we're both about to sleep, I want to show you a little bit of Elden Ring.
Yeah.
So I booted it up on my PS5 because that's where I play it. I don't know why I brought that up, but whatever. And I got on and was just like, so here's kind of some of the stuff, and just kind of went around and fucked around. But then I was like, fuck it, let's fight the Tree Sentinel. So the boss, basically right next to the very first grace point that
It's
you
the
get
first
in open
thing you
world.
run into when you step outside that castle.
Yeah, exactly. And I've seen some people meme that you have to beat that guy to get the horse.
Oh, there's
summon.
people online telling other people that are just starting like you have to beat him before you can go explore the rest of the world.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so funny. It's like, God, you're just being such a troll. But they're doing it in good faith, you know? Like,
Yeah.
they're not trying to fuck with
Yeah.
people to the point of, you know, them just getting frustrated. They're just making jokes and hoping that
Yeah.
these new players understand that they don't have to fight the tree sentinel as soon as they start. But either way, I had been playing for like 11, 12 hours or something like that, was already had leveled several times and was like, you know, I tried to fight the tree sentinel like 6 hours ago, didn't really go so well, let's try again. And then I proceeded to beat him on my second try with Laendler,
Yeah.
but I didn't get it recorded because, God, I didn't start the recording in time and I'm still salty about that, but apparently there's a double tree sentinel fight at some point. So I'm not going to be missing footage of him at any point. But
Yeah.
so I did that, and then I was like, let's go fight the great big dragon in this lake, which is also pretty close to that first grace point as well.
Yeah.
And I fought him, and I think
You died like 3 or 4 times and then beat him.
I didn't die that many times.
You sure? I thought
I'm
you did.
pretty sure I only died once, maybe twice.
I could have sworn it was maybe a bit more.
I know I died at least once because I got greedy.
Yeah.
I got greedy when he was at like a third health and I didn't have any healing left.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that happened. But then I fought the great dragon. He was like, Lane was like, oh, well, that looks cool. I might buy it. Then he bought it, and the next 3 days he had off or whatever from work, and then he just played it.
Yeah, straight up like 15 hours in the first like 2, maybe 3 days that I had it. And
He showed me his save file a couple times, and I'm like, dude, calm down. And I was so jealous because that was during the weekdays when I just didn't have the time to be able to play, and I'm just like, come on, dude, I want to be playing. Stop.
yeah, I leveled up pretty quick. And what class are you?
I started as the confessor. You started as the samurai, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm a samurai right now.
I want to start like 2 new save files or something like that. And do one starting as a samurai and one starting as something to do dex and intelligence.
Yeah.
So basically just a spellcaster
I
build. Like I want to try that because I've been playing as the confessor and been focusing more on melee than magic, which is kind of, I regret doing that at this point because now I'm coming across some cool sorceries that are like, I want to be able to do this. But
magic in that game seems overpowered sometimes.
Well, magic in basically all of the and basically all the Souls games are just cheese fest.
Mm-hmm.
Like people, like a lot of From Software veterans and whatnot will joke that, oh, you want Dark Souls on easy mode? Do a magic build.
Yeah.
Dark Souls has an easy mode. It's called magic. Like, that's the joke because magic is very overpowered. But the thing is, even in Elden Ring, it's more balanced, at least in early game. So for people who, like, there's this one speedrun route that I've been watching somebody stream that's called the All Remembrances route. So all the major bosses drop something that's called Remembrance. It's basically their soul from Dark Souls. All the bosses have a soul. So all the major bosses have a remembrance. There's a speedrun route where you go do that. But the first significant portion of the run is prep, where you're just running around getting all the materials that you need. And then at one point, since you don't actually have to fight Morgat, you don't have to do Stormvale Castle.
Right.
You can skip all of that to get up to Lernia.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, like there's a way that you can get around. It's not even that hard to find. Like, you can just explore a little bit and you can get past them. So the run requires you to do that. And then you go fight one of the mid-late game bosses. Really under-leveled.
Yeah.
But you fight this one boss just so that you can get the souls to level up your intelligence and whatnot to use a specific sorcery. Or 2 specific sorceries that just do cheese levels of damage. Especially the early game bosses, like being able to beat Margit in 1.5 hits.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, magic is going to be able to do that, but, you know, that's leveling up to level 50.
Yeah.
Just the specific boss that you're having to fight. You're getting enough runes to level up to almost level 50, but basically all of that is just in dexterity and intelligence to be able to use these 2 spells.
Yeah.
And that's what speedrunning is for anyway. You're just taking advantage of the systems that the game has in place to go through it as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do something like that with a magic build in the game, but I do want to do a save file where I'm focusing specifically on magic next to no melee and just see what I can do with that. And then I want to do samurai because I want to focus on a bleed build and see what that does. Because bleed is super good in almost all of these games.
Yeah. Which I think the samurai. I've just been upgrading the sword that I started with. I haven't really used any other weapon. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the only weapon that I've really upgraded is my starting weapon as well. There was one other weapon that I started using and that I had upgraded a little bit, but I'm not a huge fan of the move set, so I kind of regret doing that. But it doesn't really matter super much. I managed to find a staff and started using a couple spells and stuff like that. So I leveled that up and, just did a bunch of that today. But today, as of recording this, I just barely beat Godric. Where I left off last weekend was beating Margit and then going through all of Stormvale Castle, getting basically everything that I reasonably could find. So I did that, and then I specifically left off right next to Godric so that I could just fight him today, and he's easier than Margit is.
Yeah.
Margit is basically only a challenge because he has delayed attacks and stuff like that.
Which fucked me over. He's the one that you meet when you first go into the castle, right?
Yeah.
I kind of cheated fighting him.
Yeah.
Because this is the only time I did it, but I did the co-op in I have this one friend, he's already explored all of the map so far and has over 100 hours in. He's like, so where are you? And I'm like, I gotta fight this one boss, whatever his name is.
Margit.
And he's like, oh, yeah, invite me, like, we'll do the co-op thing. So me and my other friend, we all went in and just game banged him. To put it, we messed him up.
Yeah, I mean, how I did it was I summoned the NPC that's available, and I used the summon ashes. I'm not masochistic enough to go in and do all of these fights without summons and stuff like that.
I haven't figured out how to do summons yet. I have a few, but I haven't figured out how to use them. A lot of times when I click on them to use them, the guy reaches for his back pocket and it looks like he pulls out something and he doesn't have it.
Oh, really?
Weird.
You must not have the build yet.
I don't know. Maybe I can open it up after this podcast and you can show me.
Yeah, you go back to that first church and I'm pretty sure you have to be there at night and you talk to this one woman who's there.
Yeah, I have. But it won't let me bring out any of them.
Well, then you probably just don't have the summons in the right spot or something like that. That's the best that I can think of.
I have to let you look at it maybe after this podcast.
Yeah, maybe.
But for some reason, I can't bring any of that up. If I can...
there's also specific. If you see like the little blue tombstone thing on the left side in the middle, that means you can use them. If that's not there, you can't summon.
Well, it's like I can't even summon them during like just regular fights with the random, soldiers.
The overworld is really finicky.
Yeah,
it's really finicky. For some reason, some places don't let you for some reason, and other places do for like a few feet of space for some reason. Like some places in the overworld, like basically the only places that can pretty much guarantee using them are boss fights that aren't the Everjails. That's more or less the only time where you guaranteed have access to summoning them. So that's probably the problem.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah.
But there are some players apparently who are always just like, well, what's this tomb mean? And I figured that out as soon as I equipped my summon ashes. For some reason, it just doesn't click in some players' minds, I guess. And to be fair, it doesn't explain that.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to put together, there's like this ghost wispy tombstone thing on the left side of the screen, and it corresponds with when you can summon your spirits.
What are some of your favorite fights so far in this game?
Oh, good grief. I really liked Margit's fight.
Yeah.
So what I did with Margit, because like I said, there's the one NPC that you can summon, and he's basically a magic build. And I still right now, I'm still using the wolves as my summon ashes because they're the best of what I have. I mean, I have another summon ash that's a lot better that I could use. I just don't have enough FP to be able to summon it. Like, I just don't. It requires 104. I only have 81.
Right.
But that's another reason why I want to do a different build, is so I can level up a little bit in mind and stuff like that and see if I can do different there. But the way that I fought Margit is I would summon the NPC, I would enter, and then immediately summon the wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would just kind of hang back and get hits in when I could. And basically having the NPC and the wolves there more often than not got Margit down to the second phase. But it was right around within like a couple hits almost every time. It was either right before he entered second phase or right after his second phase when all of my summons were dead. So I would do this to skip the first phase, basically.
Right.
And then I would fight the second phase, which is harder and more complex and frankly really cool. I really enjoyed the fight, but it was a little bit challenging to get used to some of the delays and whatnot. Godric was fine. Not my favorite. I definitely like Margit a lot more than Godric. Although Godric's a lot easier, I think.
Yeah.
In terms of just knowing what to do with his moveset. I mean, his moveset is simpler, even though there are some things about it that are just really annoying. But probably my favorite boss up to this point is the Crucible Knight.
Oh, yeah.
This guy is a meme.
Is he?
He's basically a meme because he's pretty difficult. He is not an easy boss, but there are certain points in the late game where he is just a normal enemy standing around.
Oh, really?
And there are several fights that include him. There's a fight that has him and another boss together. There's a fight that has two of him. Like, he's all over the place in this game, basically. But in one of the first ever jails that you can come across in the overworld, you can fight just the Crucible Knight. No summons or anything like that. Super fun boss.
Yeah.
Really well designed.
I streamed fighting him.
Yeah, you did for a couple hours.
I probably spent a good 2.5 hours just fighting him.
Basically, all of that stream was just fighting him.
Yeah. Like a good, mostly. And then I beat him and ended the stream because I was like, okay, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, like I've spent 37, 38 hours in this game up to this point. I think probably 5 hours of that time's been spent just fighting Crucible Knight.
Yeah.
Early on in the game, spending an hour and a half trying to fight him and not even getting him this second.
There's another one. I don't remember the name of it, but it's like one on those stone things. And it's right before you go to the bridge that crosses into that peninsula.
Oh, good grief.
And he's like, he crawls at you and has like Wolverine claws and fights you. That's the first one that I ever did with those.
Oh, the other early ever jail guy.
Yeah.
He has the claws and then the one sword.
Yeah.
And he does certain magic attacks.
Yeah.
He's a fun fight.
He was my first one that I beat.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah.
So I actually didn't come across him as early as I think I was supposed to. Came across him probably 4 hours later than I could have.
Right.
But I know some people like the Democracy, who's one of my favorite YouTube channels, but he's just recently did a ranking of both 2 videos on the main bosses in terms of difficulty, and he's released. At the time of this video's release, he's done a lot more on this game, but at the time of recording, he's done the first part of 2, ranking easiest to hardest of the mini bosses.
Yeah.
And these Everjail bosses are mini bosses.
Yeah.
He ranked that guy a lot easier than I think that he should have because he was so overleveled.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. Like, the way that this game is designed in its open world, if you're stuck on something, go explore somewhere else. And while you're exploring, you're also leveling.
Yeah.
So by the time you come back, you're better, have more experience, and you're leveled up.
Yeah.
So it's just a really fun way to go through the game. But that guy, I really enjoyed the fight. Pretty challenging for me. Really? Like, there were a couple things about it that I died probably 4 times in that fight. Pretty challenging, but I really enjoyed the fight. It's good.
Yeah.
I think I like Crucible Knight more just because he's so...
The thing with him was, for me, it was so easy, I just kept messing up the wrong button.
That's how I was the first couple attempts going through. Like, I would get him down to pretty much within a few hits of his second phase without taking damage, and then I would just mess up one roll, and then I would just fall to pieces.
Yeah.
Not because I would mess up one roll and then just get one-shotted, because that's not how it works.
2.5 hours of fighting, I'm like, this is so easy, why am I messing up? Like,
exactly.
This is the easiest fight I could possibly do right now. I know what he's going to do. What am I messing up here? And then...
That's part of why I like it so much. Like, his moveset isn't super complex.
No, it's pretty simple.
But just the evolution of his fight too. First phase is super simple.
Yeah.
And the way that he fights is to punish you for taking advantage of certain openings the way that you would want to.
Yeah.
But then you get used to punishing his openings, and that's why his second phase is so great, because the way he uses his tail punishes you for taking those same openings the way that you did in phase 1. So it's the same fight, but with just enough variation that you're being punished for punishing him in phase 1. And I love that. And then phase 3 is basically the same thing, but he just adds in another attack. The phase 3 is the same thing as phase 2, but once you get him down to a third health, he adds in the basically entire arena tail swipes after flying.
See, when I was the last couple times right before I beat him, he never brought that out. I stayed up.
The thing is, so
right up on him. Even when he flew away, I stayed up right up on him so he couldn't.
If you're too close, he sometimes won't.
Yeah.
If he is in the stone circle, he won't do it. And in certain areas of the arena, he won't do it. There are only certain areas where when he is far away from the stone, he'll do it. If he's like at the edge of the arena, that's when he'll do it. So if he's too close to the center, or if you're too close to him, he won't.
Okay.
So pretty cool design there, but it's not really a third phase.
Right.
It's just that once you get him down to 2/3 health, he goes into that second phase and does the transition. Once you get him down to a third health, he adds in that attack.
Yeah.
Which punishes you for healing and whatnot after a flyover if you're healing too late or if you're too close to him.
Yeah.
So just the variation. I love his fight, but I have the feeling that I'm not going to love him anymore later in the game.
Yeah.
When he becomes a basic enemy that you just have to evade, because he's hard to evade. Yeah. Just the way that he shoots forward and the length of his sword and stuff. But in a one-on-one fight, fantastic fight. I've done a couple other Everjails since then, now that I'm in Lernia, but pretty so-so. One of them was like an NPC, and he was pretty easy, but also just not very good. It's just a meh fight. A really fat NPC that gives you a really fucking cool sorcery, or pyromancy, even though that's not what they're called in this game. But it requires 37 faith to do, and I'm like, I want to do a faith build. Like, I want to do a dex and intelligence build to do sorceries. I want to do a faith build where I can just do all these crazy fire attacks. You know, like, I just want to do all these builds to do all this shit because it's so cool.
Right.
But then I've done another. I see
myself doing another build. With games like this, or any story game for.
And this isn't a story game, but.
No, but any game like this or whatnot, I will do my one build, complete the game, and then I won't touch it for a good year before I even think about picking it up again.
And that's fair. Like, with most games, I'm that same way, but this just has so much variation that I'm like, I want to beat this game, and then I want to go right into a different build.
Yeah. That's fair.
Like, if I had any form of significant following, I would love to just, like, take a couple days off, wake up, start a stream, and then just do like a 36-hour stream. And just be a masochist and just play Elden Ring the entire time.
I was streaming for more than like. Once I hit the 4-hour mark, well, okay, so the 2-hour mark, I'm like, okay, I've been sitting here for a minute. 4-hour mark, I'm like, okay, I kind of want to get off. I think the most I could go is like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm like.
And I mean, obviously, I'd have to get used to it, but man, I wish I had followers and whatnot and could just stream. Not to mention I don't have internet, but like for some reason I just feel like I would just have so much fun just streaming the games that I'm playing, just because. Like, if I'm playing and recording the games to do videos on them, why not just stream them?
Well,
but I don't have fucking internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's my main issue. I would love to stream Elden Ring so much. I would also love to stream stuff with you.
Funny enough, Elden Ring got the lowest views out of all my streams.
Well, yeah, Elden Ring is, it's going to be a little bit different.
But
most people are watching, the FromSoft channels.
Yeah.
Channels that
or Dr. Disrespect. He's loved the game so far.
Except for the 3 times he said this was bullshit and quit and then started it the next day.
Yeah, which that's him in general. There's been times where he's deleted the game and installed it again. I never understood that, because when I had my slow ass internet, like I'm so mad at this game. I want to uninstall it, but I know damn well I don't want to wait another week for it to install again. Now I could delete a 120 gig game and be like, fine, I'll get back into it. Download it for 15 minutes and it's done.
Yeah, I know. I'm so jealous of that. I need good internet. But I'm really enjoying Elden Ring, honestly. Like,
yeah,
I just want to binge this game because the struggle is obviously so because of the school and everything. I'm confined to only playing on the weekends, and even then, I am, pushing back my other personal work that I want to do because I'm just spending all my time playing this game.
Yeah.
Even with the amount of time that I've been putting in each weekend, it's still gonna take me a year to get through this fucking game, and I'm like, why? It makes me so sad. Like, I just wish I
bet you I beat it in the
adulting is really hard for me right now.
I bet you $100 I could probably beat the game in the week that I have off. Not this next week, but the week after. Story wise, I guess.
Maybe well, it depends on what you did and stuff. Maybe.
Because if I had a week. I don't know. I don't want to spend my week off just playing Elden Ring, though. I really don't.
Love to spend a week off and spend a couple days.
A week off is like a once in a blue moon for me. So it's like
it's not more rare.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so I got to use this week off to work.
Yeah.
On other projects.
Yeah, that's
my
a really
job.
Shitty thing.
And I mean, at least with the other work that I'm doing and other side hobbies, it is work, but I can find enjoyment in it. But
that's my thing. Like, I do all of this stuff and it takes so much time. But if I wasn't doing this and was spending all of this time instead of just gaming like I was, like 7 months ago, I would just be,
yeah.
I'd just be living, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, and that would just be it. But doing all of my writing and all this video stuff gives me something to do that I'm like into and, has the possibility of going somewhere.
Yeah.
And I just really wish it could, But
I don't know. Life without work seems boring, but I want the work to be enjoyable.
I want to do my work. I want to do my work.
I don't want to be working for. Although I love my job, it's not the most exciting job out there. It's basic as fuck. But
I could never go back to it.
Being a manager, I guess, has its perks. And
yeah, but it also has, being a manager attached to it.
I find that I do a lot better mentally and everything when I am constantly stressed out. When I have time to relax and think about things, that's when I'm not okay. Which is really unhealthy as hell, but
yeah,
it's very unhealthy. Do not take my advice, but I have to constantly be stressing about something and working on something for me to feel okay.
I mean, I get that, but for me, especially since I left that job, my breaking point comes really early when I'm doing anything when I get super stressed. So I can't be in a constant state of stress for more than a few hours anymore. Because if I'm in a constant state of stress for more than a few hours, I break down and I'm just out of commission for a day. And I don't have time to be out of commission.
We are complete opposites, because if I'm not stressed, something's wrong. Something's wrong if I am not stressed.
Well, I'm not saying that, like I'm not
Oh, yeah.
But I'm saying like that kind of stress that I was in there.
Yeah.
There was a reason why, like, I remember when I came back temporarily for that 4 or 5 weeks back in whenever the fuck it was, 2020, August of 2020, after being away from the job for 8 months or whatever. Just for those 4 weeks, like the first week and a half, I was on top of it. And I was there for like 80 hours that first week, and then like another 70 hours the next week. But then by the time that third week started, I did not give a single fuck anymore. Like, it was almost bad enough where I shouldn't even have been there in the first place. Like, I was just so apathetic. And that's my thing. Like, I can be super great for a while, but if I'm just in that mindset for enough, then I'm out of commission for, however long it takes to recover.
Yeah.
And the way that my personality is, I have to recover, otherwise I will never. Like, I can't just go on
in a down state. If I'm in a down state, I have to get away and recover before I can go back. You know, some people can just live through it, somehow survive. I can't.
I'm one of the people that can survive and
Yeah,
thrive in chaos.
I can't.
But yeah, fun game, by the way. That was a little
Oh, that got a little bit real there for a second.
tangent, but yeah, fun game. I rate it so far, the 20 hours I put in, a solid 2 out of 10.
Oh, he
Just because
misspoke.
it pisses me off.
Nah.
No, I didn't misspeak. You know, I did misspeak. 1.5 out of 10. That game pisses me the fuck off sometimes. Weirdly enough, though, okay, no, honestly, I do not find. I thought I'd be raging all the time, you know, because like there's any.
I was really worried about that when I showed you this
Yeah.
game. I was just like, I don't know how much you're going to enjoy it because I know his temper and the way he gets, especially with games when he finds something to be bullshit. This guy will rage at the minutest of problems. This guy.
Yeah.
So this guy, he gave me his original PS4 back in 2019, okay, when he got a new one. And that PS4 controller has major battery issues because this motherfucker took it, slammed it into the desk like that, and gave it battery problems and also gave it a little dent in this side of the controller.
Did I do that, bro?
And he did it to the same thing to this controller within a week. It took him a week to get pissed off and slam it like that into a table.
I don't
like
chuck my controllers.
Like, I don't know if I can show this on camera well enough with the lighting, but you might be able to see there where the indent is. Like, you can see the crease
My temper
because of how dense
has gotten a lot better. I've had my PlayStation for what?
A few months.
A few months. My PS5. I have yet to chuck them, mainly because they're $70 fucking dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't
when
got
these are
$70 to
$30,
be replacing one every goddamn week. I think the game that has made me rage the most is probably Call of Duty Warzone. That's the one that just I really did fuck this controller up.
It's worse than mine. Mine was okay enough that I could get it back out so it doesn't feel weird.
Oh yeah.
I just was so pissed that this controller was so nice compared to mine because the one that I had was his from 2013 or 2014 when he got it.
And yeah.
And he did the same fucking thing within a week. God.
Do you remember what game I was playing? I said
don't
Warzone
remember.
but the Warzone wasn't even out when I did that. I couldn't remember what game I was playing. It had to be
I don't remember what the game was, but
some multiplayer game because those are the
it was
games
definitely something like that, yeah.
I rage the most during multiplayer games, especially like if multiplayer games you're going up against other people, and if you don't do well, the people are going to talk shit to you. I think that's part of it, and maybe it was Search and Destroy or something because Call of Duty was a big thing that I was playing.
I don't think it was COD.
It couldn't have been COD. I can't honestly.
It might have been God of War.
Honestly, it probably was
might
God of
have
War.
been God of War.
Yeah, God of War, and I just fucking, like, fuck you. I'm fucking Kratos, for Christ's sake. I shouldn't be having this many goddamn issues. But yeah.
Anyway, I don't even remember what we were talking. Oh yeah, that's right. I was afraid that he was going to have a problem with Elden Ring because he at one point, he said he owns Dark Souls 3. And he bought that just
I
a
bought
few
Dark Souls
months
3
ago.
about 3 weeks before I bought Elden Ring.
Yeah, so he bought it recently, and I was like, I don't know how much you're going to enjoy that game there, bud. You're going to have major fucking problems. And I was feeling the exact same way when I showed him Elden Ring.
When I was buying it at Walmart, I was like, maybe I should buy like 2 or 3 extra controllers just in case. But he didn't, and I haven't played Dark Souls, but Elden Ring, surprisingly, I can die to a boss like 50 times in a row, like I did with Crucible Night during my 2.5 hours.
You would get more frustrated than I felt.
Yeah.
In the game, but you generally have a worse temper than me.
Yeah, well, the thing is when I die to those bosses constantly over and over again, I laugh about it, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, I find
there are some moves with some bosses sometimes, and just some events that happen where you're just like,
yeah, like I find it more humorous, or like, wow, really?
My thing is, I'm in a completely different mindset. When I tend to have it's really mixed. It depends on the game that I'm playing. Some games I have a horrible temper.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, if I just die once in some games, I'll just be pissed. But I think it comes to expectations. I know what I'm getting into when it comes to Elden Ring. So if I'm struggling with a boss, I'm learning from this. And I'm just in a completely different mindset. If I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey and I die to a boss, I'm mad. Especially since when I played that, I had the old base PS4 and it took 2 minutes to load. Jedi Fallen Order. That's the game. I would get pissed when I would die in that game. One death would just have me so upset. Even if it was 100% my fault and was a learning experience, I would just get so upset because it took, no joke, 3.5 minutes to load. So when I died, I was just not having a good time because one death was a waste of a few minutes.
That's fair. You're going to have to title this video Elden Ring Review
and Tangents.
And Tangents.
Yeah, something like that.
Because half this video is Elden Ring and the other half is just us bitching about games and throwing controllers and shit.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Nobody's going to watch this anyway. Watch it gets 50 views.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah, so I was worried you were going to have a hard time with this game. Surprisingly, you haven't. Yeah, and surprisingly, I haven't either. I've only gotten pretty upset. I've gotten in the mindset that I can't have a problem considering how expensive this. And you're also more reactionary in your anger. When I get pissed while I'm playing a game, I get more like. I'll growl. I'll do that a lot. So I'm sure that my parents occasionally hear me from the room over because that's where their bedroom is. Just a in the distance, and it's just me being mad. Me when I get pissed because I can't swear, I can't just yell. I don't like to break things. I yell at my TV a lot. I'm surprised I haven't gotten a noise complaint. I'm surprised I haven't had cops. At this point, I'm surprised we don't get noise complaints with how loud we are here. Oh, my neighbor is deaf. Yeah, she's fine. I'm sure the only reason he hasn't and we haven't gotten noise complaints is because the neighbor upstairs is really old and hard of hearing. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the only reason. I'm cool with my other neighbors. Yeah, and the neighbor next door. We chill. They're cool. So, yeah. I found it, I got lucky with the spot where I'm living because I can it can be 3 a.m. and I'm cussing my fucking TV. It's like 3, more like 11, 12 a.m.-ish. Which seems like 3 in the morning based on how your high school years were. Oh, dude, my high school years were awful. I'd stay up until 4 or 5 in the morning and then sleep till noon. That was me in 2020. Half the time I just ditched school. Until I got my job that I'm working now, I was staying up until 3 or 4 in the morning every morning. When I'm mad playing a game, I'll either... Because I don't chuck my controllers. I've never chucked... No, you don't chuck your controllers. You take it and you slam it. I take it and I just... I use it and I just punch my table with it. Yeah. Or I just kind of toss it and go, what the fuck? Sometimes I do that. If it is instant anger. Yeah. If I'm just fine and cool, but then something utterly bullshit happens, I'll sometimes just like that. Occasionally. You see, if I throw my controller like that, though, be prepared for some things to come out of my mouth that could not go on YouTube. Take that as you will. The most violent that I get with my anger is I'll hit the side of the one arm on my chair like this. Right. I'll just slam it, and then my wrist and everything will be numb for a minute and a half. See, I'm not other than slamming the controller down, punching the table. I'm not physically. Sometimes violent. I'll slap my desk. See, I used to do that. I'm not physically violent when I'm raging. I'm violent with what I say. Not physically violent unless it's to a controller. And controllers, yes, I abuse the fuck out of controllers, but until that becomes illegal in the eyes of the law, I'm okay. See, I tend to not be violent generally. I'm so conflict avoidant. I'm violent with what I say when it comes to other people talking shit online and I mess up or something. Yeah. Or they're talking. I threaten. I should be on the watch list. The FBI watch. Oh, that's list. Did you notice that before? Is it coming apart? It looks like it might be coming apart a little. Oh my god! I haven't touched it in months. That wasn't there. I promise. It might be there. It might have just been there though. It might have just been a gradual coming apart because of the way you hit it. I would like that.
Yeah.
It's in line with how you hit it. You probably just never noticed. Either way, like I'm not violent generally, especially not physically.
Yeah.
But when I'm upset, if it's like a minor upset and I want to hit something, I'll slap my desk. If it's more aggressive, I'll hit the arm of my chair. But if I'm thinking I won't even hit the arm of my chair because it hurts my wrist so much.
I remember having a keyboard. So my PC came with, their iBuyPower keyboard. They're really shitty one with the red keys right here. I bought this Razer keyboard shortly after, and I used that iBuyPower keyboard as a punching thing. When I got mad at games, I'd take my keyboard and I would take the iBuyPower keyboard and just fucking smash it up against the desk. Keys would go flying. My mom would come down like, what the fuck happened? I'd be chucking my keyboard across the fucking room.
No, I can't do that. Part of it is because, okay, so I'm a very sentimental person in terms of I can't really throw things away or break things. Even if I don't care about them, I have a hard time doing that.
Okay.
Like, just something in my brain is weird that way. Plus, being in a super neat and tidy household family my whole life, as a kid and whatnot.
Right.
And basically everything in my room being stuff that I care about and which I own personally. I don't want to break any of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a very hard, like, I want to get like a punching bag or get like sets of something that are for me to throw at the wall. Because sometimes when I'm mad, I want to break something, like throw my phone. Like, there are times where I just want to chuck my phone, but I don't want to chuck my phone. Like, I want to throw something, but I have nothing to throw.
Oh, I've chucked my phone plenty of times.
I don't trust myself to chuck my phone. I don't feel like spending $1,000 on a new phone for another 3 years.
The only time I chuck my phone is when I'm constantly getting calls about work or whatnot, especially on my days off. I'll get off the phone. I'm always polite on the phone. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. I appreciate your cooperation. I'm very professional when I'm on the phone. The minute I hang up, I'm like, fuck you. And
you're going to be the stereotypical CEO.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm so professional on the phone, then I hang up and I'm like, fuck you, go fuck yourself, fuck your wife, fuck your kids, and I chuck my phone and I
wait until you accidentally don't hang up.
It won't be as bad depending on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to it might be bad, but yeah.
No, if you're talking to me and we're having those kind of discussions and you forget to hang up, or if I don't hang up and you forget to and just start saying that shit, I'm gonna be like, bitch, shut the fuck up.
I do it before I even answer the phone. Like, I'll look, I'll see who's calling. I'm like, fuck me, fuck my life. Why can I go a day without this goddamn phone call? Hello, how you doing? Yeah, everything going good? Good. Yeah, I can do that for you. Okay, yeah, sounds good. I'll be there in a minute. Fuck you, you fucking motherfucker. Yeah. That's exactly how I am with phone calls. That's exactly how I am.
When I see anybody driving up to the shack,
yeah,
any car, even if it's one I recognize and know it's something that I don't have to deal with, I'll be like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
If there's a phone call, I'll answer it immediately, but once I put it down, I'm just like, shut up. But if I get multiple junk phone calls, then I'll be pissed every time it rings. On a scale of 1 to 10, how tired are you?
I've been exhausted.
What am I going to do with this episode?
I don't know, this episode's fucked. If anybody asks questions, give them my address so they can send me the burritos.
Until I include the redacted bit and then they send you bombs instead.
Bombs?
What the fuck am I gonna do with this episode?
I don't know, it's fucked. Title: a podcast where we kind of talk about Elden Ring, but not really. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about right now, dude. Can we end this fucking pod before I start admitting to all my crimes?
Anyway, 15 years later, the last 20 minutes of this is getting cut out.
Yeah.
But look forward to maybe a blooper reel in the future.
You better bloop out all my hate crime or crimes. Not
Okay, Lane. Lane,
Yep.
shut the fuck up for 2 seconds. Lane's not saying anything because he's causing problems right now. I'm pretty sure we've said all we need to about Elden Ring, plus
Is that what
some
we were
other
talking about?
tangents. But I think this is going to be the end of this episode before Lane gets me into any more trouble.